Good afternoon. Welcome to KCL Advanced Tools webinar. I'm Kevin Coachman, and we're going to show you some of the different, maybe not obvious tips and tricks and tools for KCL. And again, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. There's a control bar on your right side that you can chat or send us questions. I like to start out just to remind people how to get the latest software if they don't already have it. Go off to kclcad.com, access KCL. The software we're going to talk about is the KCL BIM-CAD Designer. You're just going to download and install. If you don't have a login, you can create a free trial account, and then we can merge you into your paid company account as well. So I'm going to open up the KCL software. And again, being the advanced webinar, we're hoping that the majority of you have seen the screen, know how to use it. Going to show you right off the bat a special tool all the way to the left of the model and product search bar called full text search. One of the things that full text search can do is if I type in ADA refrigerator, it will come back and tell me which items match that. It's kind of a full text search. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. It depends on the spec sheets, what we're getting from manufacturers. But I can also try something like 8 burner range, and this is different than the filters that we have on the main screen. So that's all the way to your left, and that's the full text search. For those that are using AutoCAD, every once in a while this comes up where they have a drawing, maybe it doesn't have the balloons, and if you click on a block, we can get the name. I'm going to use the list command, and here it says ADBX018P. What does that block represent? I can go back to the full text search, paste in a block name, and we'll return to you what block was used for a manufacturer. Again, a little bit of help there. Maybe use that once in a while. In between the full text search and the model product, we have filters. If you haven't hit this button, there are several built-in filters that everyone can see. If I'm a Revit user, I can say show me only Revit items, and my manufacturer model list goes down to about 86,000 items. If I say show me detailed drawings, and we'll see what those come up like. For details that you might want to use, there's only 3,000 items, and my list of manufacturers is much shorter, including my user ones. So filters are a way to help you find only Revit or combine them together. Energy Star, if you're looking for Energy Star equipment, you can leave this on and see which manufacturers in KCL have Energy Star items. Last one is kind of new. If you're a member of a specific buying group, you will see a filter for the buying group, and this will let me show only the manufacturers for that buying group. So if you're attending today and you're in a buying group that is not Pride-centric, talk to your buying group contacts and have them contact us about adding something like this to your KCL. And then we have a show user data, which we're going to talk about how to add your own information. But by turning that on, I only see user items or user manufacturers. And for your larger companies where you're building your own library, this is a great way to have everyone on your team look at your items first and then at the full library. So that's our filter button and our full text search. Another question that comes up often is I don't use the standard food service industry layers. This applies to both AutoCAD and Revit. We have a layer mapping command. When I open that up, it loads up my last layer map I used. In this case, we were testing with someone where we changed the color of layer 200 to cyan. You can see here I can have as many layer maps as I want. I'm just going to load up a different one here. and I can change either the layer names or color or both. That's going to be up to me. So with this particular company, they wanted 200 on EQ plan, and all the others are mapped to layer 0. So once you take the time to set up layer mapping, in the lower right corner of KCL, I can turn it on, and you see my previews change. Along with the ARN buttons, there's something that says show full screen, and now I can see I have EQ plan, and I have some things on layer 0 as well. So layer mapping, if you need help because you don't want to use our standard industry layers, you can change that with KCL. Other things that come up, the ability to change your balloon style. So if I'm a KCL user and I hit balloon settings, on the very first tab, I'm going to see ellipse, hexagon, rectangle, circle, but if I keep scrolling, we'll see my different user versions. Okay, and I'm just going to go grab one here, hit the blue preview to show you what it looks like. It may be a different layer, it may be a different size, and in order to do that, you have two choices. I'm going to flip over to AutoCAD. You can send us a drawing that has your balloon or tag, and we can help you convert it into KCL. Or you can take your own tag. I'm going to just see what this one's called. Again, I use the list command. This is called balloon hexagon. Using the AutoCAD W block command. And if you haven't used this, then you ask us to help you out and we'll do something for you. I'm going to take a block that I have called balloon hexagon, and I'm going to put it off to my hard drive on my desktop. And we'll call this one test KCL. So that takes the balloon that's in the drawing, once you get it the way you want it, puts it on your hard drive. Now we can go back to KCL and hit balloon settings. I'm looking to see, there it is on my hard drive, and I can hit the plus button. Add a new one, Kevin's balloon. Go find the drawing you just made. We called it test KCL. And that adds in a new balloon to my private cloud for my company. So now everyone in the company can access this balloon in the future. So you can take our balloons, you can make changes. Once you're done, you add it to balloon settings. And again, if you have any problems with that, hit contact us and we can either remote in and help you, or you can send us a balloon that you like and we can make it work for you. Adding your own user data. That's one of the ways to make KCL more powerful than it is out of the box. As I showed earlier, with user data, I have about 84 items that I've customized myself, where maybe I added a Revit family. Turn off layer mapping here. By the way, layer mapping does work for Revit if you're using our AutoCAD converted blocks or custom blocks. So it's not just an AutoCAD or napkin sketch tool. We have user items where I've changed the Revit family to my own. User items where I have my own spec in here. So in order to use user data or add user data, we have an add and edit button at the top. If it's an existing item that I want to change, I hit edit. I can change the category. I can change the AutoCAD and napkin schedule text. I can put a list price or change the list price. I can change the spec sheet or picture. If I click spec sheet and I browse out, let's go find where I have that one. And I just grab a different spec sheet, it'll upload it. If I want to change my CAD block, plan, front, side, I can change it, any or all of them. Same for Revit. You're just going to click the Revit box and we're going to replace it with something else. When I hit save, KCL puts this into the private cloud for your company only. So no one else in the KCL world sees it, but the people who are authorized to log in for you. Because this was existing, I now have a user version. You can see here a different plan view, a different Revit, even a different spec sheet. We're working on updates for Randell, so they get a little bit of a plug there. So user data is very simple to add. If I want to add something new, then I can hit the add button. It always goes to the manufacturer that you're looking at. If that's not what you want, you clear it. I can go to my Kevin manufacturer, or I can hit plus and make up a new manufacturer. You can add as many manufacturers as you want. I'm going to just use my Kevin. We're going to make a model number by just using today's date. What type of unit is this? I'm going to call it a mixer counter. I can even go in and put in the utility data. This is not necessary if you're a Revit only user because your utility data is in the Revit family. I'm going to go ahead and just give it amps and volts. I can put in my own paragraph spec. And just like before, I can link spec sheets, AutoCAD, or Revit files. We're just going to do a simple AutoCAD block. So I added this to my Kevin manufacturer instead of editing what was already there. And then we're going to go look at the Kevin manufacturer. And here's my new item. It also has the utility data. So if you take the time to add your commonly used items that we don't have, or edit the items we do have that you keep making changes to, you can make your team more efficient. Everything we're doing here can work with AutoCAD or Napkin Sketch. Okay, one more and then we'll go into some other tools from the CAD program. If I'm looking at a manufacturer and I'm a 2D user, Napkin Sketch or AutoCAD or other programs, and I see this 3D block, I can right click and choose flatten. KCL, depending on the speed of your computer and the complexity of the block, will make two-dimensional views of it. They're not as good as when the manufacturer creates the blocks, but it gives those out there a true 2D flat symbol that I can hit A for AutoCAD. And I will not have all the extra layers. Let me zoom out a little bit here. And we'll also get the balloon for that item, which I'm currently set to ellipse. So if I view this project in 3D and zoom in here, it's flat. I don't have to worry about the extra layers, and I don't have to worry about the extra weight if I'm on an older computer or I just don't want to deal with 3D. That was the flatten command. We'll come back to this here. And you get them by right clicking, because as soon as I click away or come back, I have to flatten it again. So hopefully that's something that will save you a little bit of time and effort. Other tools besides sending right to CAD are the ability to create schedules. So I'm going to work with this area of my drawing. I'm going to hit the schedule command, generate schedule. And then I go to templates. Now I've got lots of templates. I should clean up one of these days. But here are the standard KCL templates. You can do short equipment list, manufacturer model, electric and plumbing. I'm going to just go back and do equipment list, manufacturer model. Maybe I don't want the remark field. I can exclude it. If I want to make a change, I can hit edit. Now I can change the header. I can change the width. If this is something I'm going to use again, I can save it. This is now in my private cloud just for my company, and I don't have to do that next time. I'm going to say selected balloons to AutoCAD, and we'll just window that part of the drawing. And then there's my schedule. If I want to make changes to the schedule, I can, but better to go back to the balloons. So looking at this, I've got a few that have very long descriptions, item 17, 11, and 2. I'm going to go, and you have choices here. Let's go down, 11, that I can double click and edit the balloon myself. That's one way to do it, but I have to do that to all number 11s. Or another advanced tool in KCL is edit balloons. Now this will attempt to load my entire drawing, and I only want part of it. So let me try that again. Edit balloons can read the entire drawing by default, or you can tell it that you only want to load certain balloons. So edit balloons. It's going to load the entire drawing on me, which in most cases is what we want. But in this case, I'm going to say load drawing because see, it went right to that first one, but you can see I have many number 1s because I have other elevation drawings in here. So load just this group that we're working on. Try that one more time, load. See if we got it. So now I can take the items that I have and I can say I'm looking for number 11. When I click on a number 11, it zooms me around my drawing. So I want number 11. I'm going to change the description to just say 14 gauge work table. Now I can say update all items with that same number. I can change my shape or the scale of the balloon as well. And you're going to see it zoom around the drawing, fixing my number 11s. Now when I run a schedule, it's going to use these balloons, the data from this balloon. So that's one way to make the change is double click and edit. Another way is to use our edit balloons and tell it to update all items. This filter list is very nice. If I want to look at just LTI items, I'm looking at LTI. It's a very quick filter when you have a lot of items. The other way I can fix it is go back to schedule, take the column I want, hit edit, and make it larger. So just 3 units, we'll make it 4. Do I want to save this template? Sure. Send it to AutoCAD. And we're going to just put it right next to the other one. You can have as many schedules in a drawing as you want. Now this one's a little bit wider. And if we look, number 11 is corrected here now as a work table. So if that's still not enough space, I can make the column bigger or I can go fix those categories. So there's 2 ways to get it. The last way is I can just explode my schedule, double click and change the text here. The problem with that is if I run another schedule, it's going to go back to the long description. So when you're running schedules, I'm going to do one more. We'll do electric and plumbing, but this time we'll send it to Excel. Again, I'm saying selected objects. I don't have to pick them one at a time because I don't want my elevations included right now. And now it's going to open up in Excel. And you can see here it went back to a long name. But here you can see the boxes are filled in where we have data. Again, if you need to change it or it's missing, use the edit balloon command, update the balloons. All the data is contained in the drawing. A couple other functions here we're going to show you. If I'm working with a drawing and I want to come over and turn it into a group, I can say import drawing. Again, entire drawing or balloons, we're going to do just a selected area. If you do entire drawing, it is a little faster. Now I get basically a list of all the equipment's going to show up. The reason I'm going through the group is I want to create a Word document. So here's my items, about 37 of them. If I select them all, one of our newer functions is export specification document. This will create a Word document that I can come from either Revit, Napkin Sketch, or CAD, get to the, so I'll export in Revit, export in CAD, or Napkin Sketch, and now I get my Word document. And if you're looking for additional features or functions on this, let us know, but the first person who had requested this is the format they wanted. So we can come up with different formats, but now this is in Word. You can make changes galore, add, insert, copy, and paste. So export to Word is another new, relatively new function. If you haven't used KCL before for this, now you can. I'm going to go back to the drawing, closing my group. And besides schedules, we have spec book. That if you want to go get all the spec sheets at once, you can tell it, go get either the entire drawing or selected balloons again. And spec book itself has a lot of options, but the main goal is to save you the time of having to build them one at a time. Opens up another screen for us. We can put project names. You can have a cover page. You can make your own and browse. You can have a table of contents, boilerplate PDFs. Well, now from last week, a few people didn't know about this. It's just the standard PDF that we're going to take. We don't care whether it's 2 pages or 25 pages. We'll integrate it into the spec book for you. With each spec sheet, some users want cover pages with utility, with images, some don't. These are just all options for you. When you're ready to get running, you hit the little green runner. The more items you have, the longer it takes. The preview goes pretty quick. The preview is a lower resolution image. Just to show you what it looks like if you're happy with your headers and footers. So I can see here my list. Some items have spec sheets and some don't. This is an example of a cover page with watermark. Here's the actual spec sheet, and you can see we put little headers and footers on at the top. It's a little blurry because it is the preliminary, but I can scroll through and kind of check this out. I'm just going to go a few more pages to show you one that doesn't have a spec sheet. So here's Captive Air. It's just an item in my schedule, and there's no spec sheet. So instead of a blank, we're telling you there's no spec sheet. You can certainly integrate your own into it. And when you're finished and ready for the final, you can turn it into one PDF or a zip file of PDFs. And both of those will allow you to distribute the data outside of KCL. I know we have quite a few auto quotes users. And again, just to kind of show you what we have, there's the export to AQ. Again, entire drawing or balloons. What this is going to do is make the file that you need to import to AQ. The hardest part, the question we get the most is, I can't remember where I saved my file. So I'm going to go put this on my desktop. Now I have to have auto quotes running to import that file, but we remind you where you saved it, and you go to your auto quotes, you start a new project, and you can import from KCL to get a list. Go in the other direction. If you have an AQ file, you can go over to our saved group area, and there's an import from AQ. And I have one test we'll show you. I think that's the right one. I hit import. KCL will build a list trying to match it up as best as possible. And from here, I can edit the data. I can send it to AutoCAD, Revit, or Napkin Sketch. So it's a nice jump start on your project because we retain the item number, manufacturer, model. Even if we don't have it, I could get a balloon out of this. You can see red is unmatched, black is matched. So you'll get varying degrees of matching from KCL to auto quotes or vice versa. I'm going to clear that group. And then the last new tool that we introduced actually about a week ago is if you get requests for service and do not have service as part of your company, there's a new CFESA service locator. When I click on that, I can go ahead and put in my region, my city, and it will show you the name of the closest service companies. Again, that's a tool to help you help your customers. May not make the design go faster, but it will get you going. That's our tour of KCL Advanced Features for today. Thank you for joining us.